We have a smaller group today, which I find quite interesting because back in the '80s, Michio Kushi used to joke that he would have nightmares. He was worried that the North American continent might sink one day because there were so many overweight people. And if he were still around today, I really wonder, what he would actually have to say because I was just checking the latest statistics. So, of adults 20 years old or more, more than one in three are overweight. Then, more than two out of three people are overweight or obese. More than one out of three has obesity. So, the exact statistics for overweight and obesity, 71.6%. So that's well over two out of three. And for obesity, it's 39.8%. Again, well over one out of three. About 1 in 13 have extreme obesity. That means more than 40 on the BMI, if you can imagine. Then ages 2 to 19, children to adolescents, it's about 1 in 6 have obesity. And ages 2 to 5, if you can imagine, approximately 1 in 7, 13.9% have obesity. So Michio's fears were well grounded that our continent might, if it doesn't sink, at least tilt the planet, because we have a major problem that's taking place. Now, it's not only a problem with weight and appearance. Overweight and obesity directly impact our health in many ways. So they increase our chances of heart disease or stroke. They raise our blood pressure, increase type 2 diabetes, some types of cancer, gallbladder issues and gallbladder stones, osteoarthritis, gout, sleep apnea, asthma and other breathing problems, pregnancy problems, fatty liver disease, and also depression. So there are a lot of psychological ramifications. And as we found out recently, it's a major factor for having serious issues with COVID-19. So we have more than 2/3 of the people in this country who have a serious issue with their weight. At the same time, for those of you who have been practicing macrobiotics for a while, how many people do you know that are practicing macrobiotics and are actually overweight? And what I find, well, I know very few, and the ones that I do know that have weight issues, it's usually, easy to understand. But at any rate, what I find interesting is not that many people come to me for losing weight. However, the vast majority of the people that come to me are overweight when they come, but they're coming for other issues. And as you can imagine, everyone without fail loses weight automatically without trying, because they're not trying to lose weight, which is really interesting. Now, so why do all diets fail? Well, the main reason they fail is they don't think about our health and biological needs. The goal is just trying to help people lose weight, and so what they do is they go to restriction. But the unifying principle in macrobiotics tells us that restriction inevitably leads to excess. So what it comes down to is trying to lose weight is the way to gain weight. Doesn't make sense, but that's really what's going on. The more we try to lose weight, the more weight we end up gaining. That's why we have this situation. When people come to macrobiotics for their health, what do? They improve their diet, lifestyle practices, and activity. And then what happens? They start to lose weight automatically without trying. Whereas people who try to lose weight try to restrict, try to cut back. Food is our strongest appetite in life. So we can't restrict it. The more we restrict our diet, the more we crave, the more weight we gain, which is what's really happening. So if I had to start all over again, if I wanted to get into an industry, I'd probably get into weight loss because, no pun intended, you can't lose. That's the whole essence of what's going on. Then, in addition, the main recommendation is exercise more. And statistically, once you're overweight, the more you exercise, the more weight you gain. Seems counterintuitive, but it's really not. If if you have a healthy weight and you exercise, it can help to maintain your weight or slow weight gain. But once you're overweight, the more you exercise, the more weight you gain. How can that be? Well, when we exercise, when we do unnatural exercise, we imbalance our appetite. And then after we work out at the health club or the gym, what do we want to do? We want to reward ourselves. So we actually do more damage than the benefit of the exercise. And where's my evidence of that? How many gyms and health clubs do you see now compared to the past? We continue to gain weight. So actually, it's not really about exercise. What it's about is our modern diet and lifestyle. Now, a lot of people practicing macrobiotics are thin. So we need to know if our weight is okay, because there's a stigma attached to weight loss. And I'm sure, as many of you have experienced, if you start to lose weight, then people say, well, you look good, but what about your weight? I'm worried about you. I hear this all the time from my clients. Once we start to lose weight, people think we're sick, because the main reason people lose weight now is because of sickness. So there's a stigma attached to healthy weight loss. And everybody, especially your doctors and close family members, usually give you a hard time, even though they can see you look better, you feel better, you act better, everything's better, but you're thin. Okay. Number one, the most important thing is, do I have an appetite for healthy foods? When we lose weight because of sickness, our appetite for healthy foods goes down. When we lose weight because of health, our appetite for healthy foods increases. Number two, we have a healthy bowel movement, daily bowel movement. Number three, we feel strong. Number four, energetic. So in other words, we feel strong and energetic to live our life. These are the four things. If one or more of those things are off, then you may have an issue with your weight. The other factor is people that are practicing macrobiotics for recovering from serious health problems always actually do get too thin for a while, even though these factors are good, because it's natural compensation. If we start off here, we start to lose weight, we go below our low normal, and then we come back again. Because basically what we're doing, we're losing the weight that's causing our health issues. Then we're rebuilding our body with healthy foods that don't go to sickness. So this is the common problem. Then some people have an issue. They think they are too thin and they want to gain weight. So what do you do when you want to gain weight? The natural tendency is eat more. The problem is it doesn't work. It actually gets in the way. Because when you eat more, you overwork your digestive system. And it actually causes you to lose more weight. So I've seen people that, I think are too thin. And I see the amount they eat enormous amounts of food. And they wonder, why am I not gaining weight? And you think, well, it's more calories. But the calorie theory doesn't really work. For example, artificial sweeteners have 0 calories. But if you eat artificial sweeteners, diet drinks or put artificial sweeteners in your coffee or tea, there's zero calories, but you gain weight. So they did an interesting research with mice. They fed 2 groups of mice the same amount of calories, except one had artificial sweeteners, the other didn't. The artificial sweetener group gained weight for 2 reasons. Number one, they mess up our microbiome, our gut. In other words, what's going on with our gut is an important determining factor of having a proper weight, whether it's underweight or overweight. The second thing is they act like super ice. They freeze their metabolism. They block anything from eliminating from our body. So for gaining weight, there's two issues. One, what goes in, what we eat, our diet, our eating habits, even our thoughts or attitudes, what goes in. Number two is our ability to eliminate what we don't need. We need both sides for a healthy weight. Artificial sweeteners interfere with what goes out. So it's not about calories, it's not about eating more. If you want to gain weight, then the key is variety. Variety in each of the food groups. Variety in grains, variety in beans, variety in vegetables, variety in soups, variety in combinations. The more variety, the more it helps stabilize your weight. Number two is getting good activity, physical activity, especially that makes you sweat. You need to do vigorous physical activity if you want to gain weight. Our intestines, our digestive system need activity to work. Our nervous system does too. So the key to gaining weight, if you actually think you're too thin, is variety and good activity, including vigorous activity, something to make you sweat. And try not to overeat. Just eat a comfortable amount of food. If you do that and do the body work, the weight will take care of itself. But again, what you always want to come back to is activity, bowel movement, energy, and strength. That's okay. Why do we have this major overweight and obesity problem? That really is getting worrying, just looking around. It's the result of our modern diet and lifestyle. So especially eating animal and dairy foods, but it's not only that, because a lot of vegans are overweight too. So it's eating the wrong foods and having the wrong activity. Okay. The number one important thing to regulate your weight and your health is stop distracted eating. Distracted eating means doing anything at all other than quiet conversation when you're eating. Because when we do something, really, we don't remember, it doesn't enter our consciousness what we ate. We forget that we actually ate it. So we want to eat it again or we want to eat more. It's the single most important thing. What does everyone do when they eat now? Read, go on their phone, watch TV, listen to the radio. People say, well, I need to be informed, I need to multitask, but not a good idea. Second is skipping meals makes you gain weight, especially skipping lunch. Because when we eat and what we eat regulate our metabolism. If you skip a meal, you stagnate your metabolism, you actually gain more weight. So the most important thing is don't eat, don't skip lunch, and then the next thing, don't eat before bed. Whatever you eat before bed, then affects your weight the most. You gain more weight by eating at night. And there's been a lot of research by people just limiting the hours in which they eat, and then they start to lose weight from doing that. So two things are really important. Limit the time in which you eat. Don't eat for 3 hours, after you finish dinner. And the second, if you do one activity, walk. Walk outside. Okay. Then, how does the process happen? As I mentioned, gaining weight depends on two things, what goes in and what goes out. If our ability to eliminate what we don't need is good, even if we eat plenty of food, we're always eliminating more than goes in. I know a lot of macrobiotic people, and some of them eat a lot of food. You have to wonder, how can you eat so much food and still have a healthy weight? Well, the answer is they have a good, strong metabolism, so they have a good ability to eliminate what they don't need. So what happens when our diet and activity are imbalanced is basically we block our ability to eliminate. So the number one is we get clogged organs, kidneys, intestines, and our lungs. Our two main excretory organs. So basically, we eat food, we break it down from solid to liquid to energy. Physical energy, emotional energy, mental energy, spiritual energy. Most of our food goes towards energy. Then next, it goes for nourishing, repairing our body. Then what we don't use, we give back to nature. Our two main excretory organs are our kidneys and our intestines. If they're functioning properly, then we have a strong ability to eliminate, to detox what we don't need. After that, it's our lungs. So if those organs are good, we can eat plenty, we can eat rich foods, and our weight's fine. Then after that happens, then the skin, our skin starts to get clogged. And this is the main thing. In order to gain weight, your skin needs to be clogged. And I said, in order to gain weight, in order to lose weight, your skin needs to be open. So the question is, how do we deeply clean our skin? And the answer is, number one, we limit or avoid oil for a while, because the fat and oil, if we reduce it, it starts to go back the way it got in there. So lessen rich foods, oily foods, sweets, things like that in our diet. Then together with that, do the body rub every day, a good 15 minutes, especially in the morning at the sink. Then as time goes on, you more deeply clean your skin. Your skin's your body's biggest opening. Then you can help to do that. The next thing is your liver gets sluggish. Your liver is sluggish from, again, improper foods and lifestyle. Macrobiotic foods, complex carbohydrates, leafy green vegetables, mildly sweet vegetables, mild sweet taste, mild sour taste. Well, the mainstay of macrobiotic foods nourish your liver well. So they help your liver, and we're not eating animal fats, and we try to use oil sparingly. So our liver function gets good. Then, as I mentioned, as far as activity goes, don't exercise, don't think about calories. Basically, the easiest way to lose weight is don't try. Think about anything else. Think about your health or anything. Because the more you try to lose weight, the more you start to crave the things that make you gain weight. Everything works in reverse. My analogy is, with pregnancy. The more a woman or the more a couple wants to get pregnant, the harder it becomes. So women get pregnancy the easiest when they don't want to, when it's the last thing from their mind. But then when we really want to, then we interfere with the process. Weight is very similar. The more we want to lose weight, the more we do things, automatically they get in the way. So if you really want to lose weight, don't make that your priority. Make your health, make looking better, make anything else a priority. And then that really helps. If you can shift your mind from the losing weight part. Okay. So next thing is, in order to lose weight, these things are important. Number one, so I just talked about, don't obsess about gaining or losing weight. So again, for gaining weight, the body rub is essential, because not only does the body rub deeply clean your skin, but the body rub activates your deep circulation, deep in your organs, deep in your nervous system. So in order to gain weight, you have to increase your flexibility deep inside. Because what happens if people are too thin for too long, their body starts to become more rigid inside. And then their ability to absorb nutrition goes down. So the body rub helps to promote deep flexibility. Next thing, as I mentioned, is stop eating 3 hours before bedtime. Now, the key to stop eating 3 hours before bedtime, it's a very difficult habit to break. So the key to stop eating 3 hours before bedtime is to make your meals more satisfying. And again, I have to come back to the calorie theory. A lot of people will skip breakfast, thinking, okay, I'm not eating breakfast, I'm having less calories, I'm having less food. Then they get hungry at night. Defeats the purpose. So if in order to lose weight, you're much better having a good breakfast and definitely starting it before 8:30. So with eating times, for breakfast, it's basically 5 a.m. to 8:30. For lunch, it's 11 to 1. For dinner, it's 5 to 7, even 7:30. But in every case, if you eat to the earlier part of that time frame, it activates your metabolism more. It makes you physically stronger. If you eat towards the latter part, it stimulates your mind and creativity. So if your goal is to get stronger physically, to improve your health, or to lose weight, try to eat earlier. Earlier eating makes this whole thing more effective. And if you want to skip a meal or simplify your meal, make it dinner. Eat a good breakfast, eat a good lunch, and then have a more simple dinner. But, a lot of people, I observe what people do all the time. A lot of people try to choose from the healthy food list, they try to choose the healthiest foods. And often that's not the foods that they really need. So I tell people, don't choose foods because they're healthy. All the foods we're eating are healthy. Choose foods to make you more satisfied because you find them satisfying. So the key to losing weight is make yourself more satisfied, not less. That also helps you not eat before bed. Eat at regular times without skipping meals. Then we already talked about that. Now the next thing is don't try to limit the amount of food that you eat. Try to eat an amount of food that makes you feel comfortable. Because again, if you think I'm going to eat less, it comes back to that restriction. Restriction leads to excess. Satisfaction of healthy foods makes you go to a healthy weight. Because weight is really a symptom of your overall health and balance, which means if your health and balance are good, then your weight will be good. And in the past, if you see old movies from the 30s and 40s, you don't see many overweight people. You see very, very few. Everyone looks really trim. I said that to someone, and they said that's because they don't let people overweight in the movies. But if you see news footage, you still don't see overweight people. So I don't know if that comment was accurate or not, but I do know we can see with our own eyes that in the past, when people just had a healthier diet and lifestyle, they didn't have a weight issue. This is a recent problem. Okay. Then, diet-wise, so eat a comfortable amount to make you feel satisfied. Then the next thing is eat steamed greens once or twice a day. A lot of people think, people macrobiotics thinking about yin and yang, think, well, greens are yin. And they think, well, I'm going to eat plenty of steamed greens. But the problem is steamed greens are kind of gathering. It's like kind of wringing things out. Steaming is bringing out the fibrous nature of the food. So if you eat too many steamed greens, it actually makes you lose weight, which if that's your goal, that's a good thing. So eat steamed greens once or twice a week. So the only people I know who can be really effective in the short run and the long run is macrobiotic people. So if you want to lose weight or help your family or friends, then what you need to do is explore the most delicious, healthy foods. And then you need to find activity that satisfies you. So as far as exercise goes, ask yourself, does it satisfy me? Does it help me eat less and feel more satisfied? And if the answer is yes, then it's the right thing. And the other thing is, it seems strange, is we align who with the people we're with. So hang out, hang around with, um, more people who are thinner. I once had a client. She was an older woman who looked very young and acted very young. So I asked her, "How do you keep young?" And she said, "I don't like old people. I only like young people. So I hang out with young people and it keeps me young." And I thought, that's very, very smart because, again, there's a kind of alignment there. Um, when we're older and we like young people, and as we're thinking about uh, being young, then that's what we end up getting. Our mind, our consciousness is drawing us to that. So same thing with weight. If you hang around with people that have a healthy weight, it helps you. If you hang around with people that are interested in health, it helps you. So, when I first started to practice macrobiotics, none of my friends were interested. And I realized if I wanted to do this, I couldn't really hang out with my friends because they wanted to go to McDonald's or Burger King or whatever, or go get a pizza. So then I found out how to make new friends who are interested in macrobiotics, and that's what really enabled me to do this. So before I invite Susan over, it's basically losing weight is not discipline. Discipline doesn't work with food. Losing weight is a matter of creating new health supporting habits and cultivating your enjoyment of healthy foods and finding activities that support your health and not creating a rigid or an overly vigorous exercise plan. I'm not saying don't be active, and Susan's going to talk about activity, but what I am saying is it's what you eat, when you eat, how you eat, together with life's activity that regulates your weight more than anything else. So, as usual, I'm going to invite Susan to come over. She's going to talk about some things and also about the recipes, and then I'll come back and we'll have a Q&A at the end.
Did you say she's hiding?
Okay. Here's Susan.
Hi, everybody. Looks like I'm staring at a little green thing that says SHI. Anyway, hi. I hope everybody's doing very well today. So I'm going to start where Denny left off, and I'm going to start talking about the body rub. As Denny said, that the body rub deeply cleans your skin and activates your circulation on all levels. Activates your blood circulation, your lymph circulation, all those things, which are like very important when you're considering weight loss. It also deeply cleans your skin and helps draw out fats and toxins from the skin. And when your skin is blocked, then it's a difficult time, or you can have a difficult time losing weight. I did a seminar on the skin 2 Mondays ago. Each Monday I've been doing a support group with a group of people, or anyone can join. And we did a thorough thing on the skin. So one of the things you can do, if your skin tends to be really blocked, or if you keep trying to lose weight, you can also try making ginger water, hot ginger water. So you grate ginger, and then you put it in a little cheesecloth, or else if you can get like one of those muslin sacks that are used for steeping teas or making fish stocks, those work beautifully. So just like a small amount, and then just let that steep and simmer in some hot water, and then use that water and go over your whole skin back and forth, giving yourself a body rub. This not only makes your skin really nice and shiny and smooth and soft, it also helps open up the pores more, and the ginger helps activate circulation even deeper. If you're fortunate enough to have somebody to give you a ginger compress prior to that, then that's like great too. Another thing to help lose weight. And about the body rub, so Denny has here like about 15 minutes every day. I think it's really important not to sit there and time yourself, because that is really, I mean, the body rub, let's just say that's your time. That's your personal time to give yourself attention and love. And, you know, you don't want to be looking at the clock and say, oh, okay, I've rubbed for like 6 minutes. I have like, you know, so many more minutes to go. You really want to think of it as an orderly process. I like to start with my face first and just like let the cloth over my face and kind of relax things. I like to go around my eyes. And then I move to the arms, and then usually the knees down to the toes, and then the rest of my body. So I think the whole thing is find an order that works well for you. And when you go through things, if you don't have extra time someday and you only do the body rub for like 9 minutes or 8 minutes or 10 minutes, that's really okay. I feel that consistency is more important. It's the practice of actually like doing something and taking that time for yourself to do it, rather than, you know, like, as I said before, counting the time. And then the days that you have a little bit more time, if you want to go through your hands, like if you can see my hand here, I'll stand up here, 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 in the back, and I go through all my toes like that. And then I sit down and I do the bottoms of my feet really well. When you have time like that, you know, like it really makes a big difference. Another thing, while the weather's warm today, if you've been working outside, or let's say you went outside for a hike or a walk, and you kind of perspired a whole lot, maybe you want to give yourself a mini body rub before dinner time, or maybe before you hop into bed. Not only relaxes your body, but also just, I think a good friend of ours used to describe it as it's brushing the dust of the day off. And I really like that analogy. So in that case, then you're doing more than one body rub. So you're probably going to go past that 15-minute mark. And then exercise. So probably like the two most things that are important are, you know, like the body rub and walking. Walking is so important, and it's something that you can do as long as you can walk. Then I would try to do it. And if your endurance is not that good, then start off by taking small walks, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. If you know you're concerned and your balance isn't good, maybe find a buddy to walk with you. You want to really start trying to like get a good walk in every day. And it not only helps relax the body, but it also helps with left-right balance and a number of other things. And I think it's probably the most important exercise. Then regarding an exercise program, you want to pick something, of course, that you enjoy. And the way I look at it, I have friends that, you know, they've always wanted to like lose weight, and they kind of struggle with it here and there. And, you know, like even if they gain like a couple pounds, you know, like it's noticeable right away. And they'll just like work out like crazy. They'll like go to the gym or take endless classes and whatnot. But, you know, like it's fine doing different things, but I feel that it's more important to take that time and try to take little steps to actually like lose weight first. Because you have some people that they're in the gym and they're like lifting weights and everything like that. So they're basically trying to turn their fat into muscle. And that's fine as long as you keep like doing that for the rest of your life. But if something happens and you're not able to do that for a time, all that nice muscle that you build ends up turning to flab, and that doesn't look very attractive at all. So I wouldn't really recommend that. After walking, I think exercises that are fun and also help not just with muscle tone, but help with balance, help stimulate the nervous system, and help actually like stretch our muscles and stretch our ligaments and stretch our fascia. So fascia is like the connective tissue in between bones and ligaments and everything else. So things like yoga, and it doesn't have to be a vigorous yoga. Gentle yoga works just as well. To be truthful, I prefer gentle yoga classes where you can just really take your time and move to different things. I'm not interested in a lot of big arm balances or anything like that, or standing on my head for 5-10 minutes. If you're into that, that's fine and that's your thing, but that's not necessary to get in good physical shape. I also like a practice called gyrokinesis and gyrotonics. Gyrokinesis is done on a stool, and it was created by a dancer who was rehabbing himself from an injury years ago, and then thus it was dubbed yoga for dancers. So that's an amazing exercise that helps, again, also with balance, stimulates the nervous system, and really does like work the connective tissue as well, and really helps to gain more flexibility throughout the spine. So I really think, especially as we begin to age, that stretching is just so important. You could even incorporate a little bit of stretch before you go for a walk or before you go for a hike. And that's one way of preventing any type of injury. So all these little things are just, in my opinion, like fantastic and really helpful. Dancing is a great exercise, whether you're jiggling around your house or apartment by yourself to your favorite music, or enjoying some dance classes. I don't think that that's like possible right now. I don't know how many places are open, but when they are, joining a dance class would be fun. Something, you know, that's more fun, like swing dancing is fun, or even like square dancing can be very fun. So salsa dancing, again, it's like fun, and you work up a good sweat and, you know, like enjoy yourself. So another good form of exercise. They're martial arts too. I love martial arts. I used to do martial arts, but I get a warning there that if your condition tends to be more contracted and you tend to be a little bit more tight, martial arts is not going to be relaxing. Something like Tai Chi can be relaxing because it's more fluid movement, or even Qigong, depending on the style that you're doing. Anything, again, as I said, that's a little bit more fluid with your movement is going to be more helpful form of exercise. Swimming is wonderful, provided that you're in the ocean or a lake. Unfortunately, a lot of pools contain a lot of chemicals, and not just that they're not great for your skin. I just personally don't like to expose myself to all those chemicals. I'm trying to think if there's one of the biking is another wonderful exercise too. Some people love it. Other people just may not be your thing. Again, biking is one of those things that can make your condition a little bit more tight. So if you tend to be like that in the first place, then maybe you want to choose something that's a little bit more relaxed, like the gentle yoga or something. So that's pretty, oh, house cleaning and gardening, the most natural form of exercise. Playing with children too. When you're playing with children, that's a whole lot of fun, and you need to do that. My goodness, you know, some of my grandchildren can run me around, and you need to be in shape to be able to do that, to be able to like lift them up or spin them around, or just like play a game of tag or hide and seek with them. But anything like that you can do also is like, it's fun. And anything that's fun and joyous and interactive is going to make you feel your life more fulfilling and make you feel more satisfied in the long run. When you tend to have more personal satisfaction, then instead of trying to reach that satisfaction through consuming food, you're reaching that satisfaction through personal fulfillment by doing things that you love and being around people like that you love. So a good barometer is any type of activity that gives you an appetite for healthy food, but not too much food. Excuse me, Denny, can you please, I'm sorry. Our cat was hiding and I didn't see her, but here she is and she's trying to come in. So Denny will entertain her for a bit. Okay, so getting back to that. So if you know your barometer is, if you're satisfied by your meals, then you know you're making your meals satisfied. If you're doing a healthy form of exercise, then it increases your appetite for healthy food. But it doesn't make you crave plenty of sweets or plenty of, like some people they'll exercise and they'll think they have to go have a cocktail. Or some people exercise, then they want something salty. So if that is something that's happening, then maybe that's not the right exercise. I had a student years ago that was asking me what kind of snacks she can have because she needs snacks after she exercises. And I said, well, what are you doing, And she said that she was swimming and she was swimming in a pool, not, like in the ocean or anything like that. And I said, well, maybe you want to like switch exercises, because it was literally, she was like eating all these things in between meals to support her exercise rather than having her exercise routine support her whole being. So it wasn't really serving her very well. So I'll end my speech on exercise there. So I'll move on and I'm going to talk about the recipes I chose. So daikon, if you're trying to lose weight, daikon will become your favorite vegetable, I hope. So that's the long white radish. Of course, they have like the purple daikons too, and they work too, but not quite the same as like the white radish. The white radishes are a little bit stronger. And the first dish I showed here is daikon and dried shiitake nishime. So nishime is a style of cooking that's long steaming. And you can put a little bit of kombu in the bottom of that. The recipe is pretty self-explanatory, but the reason I chose this is because dried shiitake helps to take fat out of the liver, gallbladder, and reproductive organs. Well, the liver's function is to help metabolize fat. So obviously that's going to help with weight loss. Daikon radish has the ability to break down fat and protein. So we're combining these two things and we're cooking in a style where it's long steaming, where literally as the water simmers on the bottom there and the lid's on the pot, energy rises, hits the sides, hits the tops, and then gently settles down. So this particular dish and style of cooking and these two vegetables prepared this way has the ability to bring excess from the periphery to the center so that you eliminate naturally down, because that's our natural means of discharge. Oftentimes when people do lose weight, you'll see it in the face first, see it in the chest area. Ladies, sorry, but sometimes you see it in the breast area. And then it takes a while to get to like some of the other places that ideally you would like to lose weight. But those are usually like the last to go, like hips and the thighs and butt and sometimes the belly. A little bit harder to lose that fat around those areas. But this particular dish is great. You want to make it every week, enough that you can have it for like 2 to 3 servings. I suppose if you were really, into it, you could make it, have it for 1 day, have it the second day, and then wait a good 7 days, have it again, and have it 2 days in a row. So that way you'd be getting it in like, a good 3 times a week. The next dish is boiled daikon. Now, this is very helpful if you tend to have a very tight condition too. So it's not saying that you can have like one or the other here. You can have both these dishes. Incidentally, boiled daikon is very helpful to also relax our internal condition. So especially, again, relaxing tight intestines so that the whole process of digestion runs a little bit more smoothly. And that's a very simple dish to do. It pretty much cooks itself. Again, the recipe is self-explanatory, and it's perfectly fine to have a nice big bowl of that because it is so easy. These are actually quite good the next day at room temperature. And I've had kids that really love that dish, just simple plain boiled daikon. You wouldn't necessarily expect it, but it does. It's a good dish. Quick steamed grains, we had said before, watercress in particular can be very helpful to lose weight because again, it has a very contracting nature, watercress, but again, squeezing in, and again, usually the first limitations would be at the top and then to the bottom. And then the home remedy I chose was carrot daikon drink. This is just a basic carrot daikon drink, very simple. And that also is pretty self-explanatory. If I was going to add another one to follow that up, I would probably choose dried daikon tea. It's just that I didn't want to pick that because sometimes dried daikon is a very hard ingredient to source. So you usually have to mail order that. Most grocery stores, it's not something that carries, and sometimes the mail order companies, they're out of that too. So that wouldn't be the thing. Another thing I might add is you want to make your meals satisfying. So you do want to include good quality, sweet, refreshing things. So plenty of blanched salad, quick sauteed things, blanched vegetable salad with a little bit of brown rice vinegar, but also fresh vegetable juices. Fresh vegetable juices are very refreshing. And when you use some sweet ingredients there, or the combination of sweet and sour, that also can help stimulate the liver, or the sweet combinations can satisfy sweet cravings, but you get the added benefit of refreshing things. And if I was going to choose another sweet, it would probably be fresh seasonal fruits, or maybe some oranges. And then after that, if you're into cooking something, just simple fruit canton. They're all the most refreshing desserts. So that's all I have to say for now. And I think we're going to bring Denny back, and then we will open things up for questions.
All right, great. Thank you, Denny and Susan. So at this time, yes, we are going to open up for questions, a Q&A for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. Just as a reminder, individuals you will all that are on the call will just remain muted. I'm just going to ask for you to send, as I usually outline in my emails, if you can send a direct chat message to me if you have a question. And as I state in those messages, making sure that you are mindful of your time for each question, making sure that each question is in regards to the current topic at hand, which is weight management, and also making sure that you're not asking complex counseling questions. So I'm going to answer all questions in the order in which they do come to me. And as a reminder, to just send those directly to me via chat. If you cannot find that feature, maybe use your raised hand as well, and I will, I'll address you directly. So Denny and Susan, our first question: how does menopause impact weight gain, and how do I counter that?
I'm going to answer that. Okay. Well, naturally, oftentimes as we go through that process, you tend to maybe, I think it's more of a weight shift, which women, I think that we tend to go through weight shifts as we mature. So you have, like the way you're built, like back in like middle school and high school, And some people, like, gosh, nowadays there's a lot of young girls that you wouldn't know that they're under the age of 18 because they look like women. And then they make themselves up to look more like grown women. So then as you mature a little bit, oftentimes your hips start to like round out a little bit more, and you may have changes like in the breast area, everything. And again, that changes again around age like 30 something. If you have children, it changes again. And then can change again around like upper 40s, 50. I don't know. I'm fortunate because I am active, but sometimes you do get some weight gain at different places. I think more because in menopause, it's because your body, you're just becoming more young. And you don't have the same allowance for discharge. So oftentimes then you can gain weight kind of like on the sides or like the back here, like around the hip area, but more towards the back, which is more means that you're more young. So you want to watch your bread intake, watch your salt, and I think plenty of refreshing foods. I think refreshing, 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 refreshing. So relaxing foods, refreshing. And then you should be pretty good. But you want to, if I said it once, I said it a million one times. I think refreshing foods are the key to that, like blanched vegetable salads, fresh juices, fresh fruits, um, quick sautés, not overusing oil, not overcooking your light vegetable dishes, not forgetting to include a light vegetable dish, and not making your meals like overly heavy. Uh, and then, like being careful of like young foods. So foods that are more drying, like I said, baked foods, some of the beans in the standard macrobiotic diet, like overuse of like things like azuki beans, overeating grains can make that weight stay on. So, like think of cracked grains. And if you're not hungry for brown rice, don't eat brown rice. Pick a different grain. There's a ton to choose from. So think of things like bulgur wheat, think of things like couscous, and I don't mean just like French couscous, whole wheat couscous. Think of things like, like oatmeal, as in rolled oats, as opposed to steel cut oats, using pearl barley, using farro, using pasta. So you just want to use a variety of different foods, and always, but always include something light, fresh, and crunchy. Anything to add? And keep active. Seriously, keep active. Do some things that you enjoy doing, things that are fun, and things that like move your body, internally and externally. That's why I like gyrokinesis. I'll plug it again.
So I agree with everything Susan said, but very simply, estrogen, which is the hormone, lessens after menopause. So that means we have to replenish yin by everything that Susan said, and be careful about yang things. That's really in essence, in a nutshell, that's really the key.
Well, I'll say one more thing too, and that doesn't mean like if people who choose to eat fish and things like that, when you want plenty of variety, because variety is more yin, and simplicity doesn't mean again that sometimes you want a very simple meal. But you want to have plenty of variety. So if you do include fish, literally everything from fish to fruit, but then choose fishes that are not like smoked fishes or salty fishes. Choose, like mild white meat fish, if that's something. I wouldn't choose shellfish either. Like if you're going to have something like that, make sure it's wild and reserve it for a very special occasion, because shellfish can really tighten up the pancreas and the liver, and like that's not gonna do you any good. Okay, that was a long one.
All right, so moving along. So having a problem with regular elimination how to be able to strengthen the intestines.
But as I mentioned, for the intestines, physical activity is very, very important. Walking is the basis, but it's not enough. You need more vigorous physical activity, and especially things that move your hip region. Then, so it's much easier to talk about this for people that are familiar with yin and yang. There's two types of constipation. One type is caused by any type of animal foods, dairy foods, cheese, baked foods, salty foods, so-called yang restrictive foods that make the intestines too tight to relax, for the bowels to move. The other is too much fruits, sweets, oily foods, alcohol, spices, things that are very expansive, yeast, breads and pastries, things that are very expansive that weaken the intestines so they can't create peristaltic activity, action. So together with activity, you need to just eat foods that are going to make your condition more balanced, basically, and to minimize the foods that are a cause. And the intestines are slow to change. So whatever you do, it usually doesn't work instantly overnight, but the slow, steady approach is better than going towards herbal or other remedies. But that's okay, to get things moving too.
Bending, gardening. You could do belly circles where you just literally like roll around your sits bones, anything like that. Belly dancing.
All right. So the next question, tomato sauce, is that okay to incorporate with daikon?
Tomato sauce with daikon?
Yes.
You mean together in the same dish? Okay, that's a new one. I've never heard of that. I'm a fan of tomato sauce, especially the recipe that's in our book, and when you add a little miso to it and plenty of onions. But I don't know that I would be serving that together with daikon in the same dish, unless you had like a radish that you added a little salt to and added it to a salad. I would do those two things separately. And probably I would do like the daikon dish earlier in the day. And if you're into tomato sauce and you want a pasta or you want it over rice, or there's another dish with tomato, onions, and cabbage, or tomato, onions, and cauliflower, it's good too, and broccoli. I would choose that in a completely different meal. I think that they go together.
I agree.
You can put radishes in your salad.
All right. So this question is in regards to sourdough bread, which I know they're referencing your comment about reducing bread. So you're still referring to sourdough bread, correct? In the amount of breads and other things that you're taking in a few times a week.
Well,
you can answer, then I'll answer too. Comment.
So in general, for weight loss, less grains, more vegetables. Less bread than grains, but unyeasted sourdough bread is a naturally fermented food, and especially if you steam it, it becomes much more digestible. So, some unyeasted sourdough bread that's steamed is okay. Yeasted bread or yeasted products I would avoid completely because they really disturb the environment in the intestines.
So I think that steamed sourdough bread with tahini or hummus or different things is very helpful for people who lack nourishment and want to like possibly gain weight. And I believe the standard used to be 1 to 2 slices up to 3 times a week. So that's like about 6 slices of bread. Still recommending that? Yeah,
that's fine.
But if you veer towards the less side of that, if you want to lose weight, maybe that's like a good idea. And, like if I would stick to things like maybe tahini and sauerkraut on your bread, or tahini and you could use some fruit spread. I wouldn't choose peanut butter if you want to lose weight, and I wouldn't necessarily choose almond butter either if you want to lose weight. A little bit of hummus would work, like on a sandwich, like for lunch, together with like cucumbers and lettuce, and other things. And if you are using tahini, make it a thin spread, not like an inch of tahini.
All right, let's see. A couple of questions came in. Okay, so this question says, some macrobiotic cooks say not to consume apple juice because it acts as simple sugar. What is your opinion?
I think there's something to that, but again, macrobiotics is about balancing yin and yang. So, and also like in the fall, apple cider is a very natural food. So it depends on someone's overall health and how much. The macrobiotic adage of quantity and quality change everything. So when in doubt, you're better off eating the fruit than the juice.
Yeah, if I was going to do a juice, I would do more like a carrot apple type juice. I mean, sometimes I do like diluted apple juice that's warmed, like especially if you're kind of like feeling not. That's it. That's a good remedy if you're not feeling so well, or like diluted warmed apple juice or cider with a little bit of lemon in it, kind of like relaxes things, and allows you to discharge more smoothly. Like I'm not much of a fruit juice drinker. I like good wine though.
All right, great, great. So at this time, all questions will be, any questions that are remaining will be answered and directed, but I'm going to close the chat now as it's now after 5. So let's see here. Okay, so Susan, and I think Denny's coming back. So the individual is stressed, occasionally, I guess they engage in night eating and while trying to relax, and it's a very hard habit for them to break.
That's related to hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, which we touched on in the stress, and it's also part of our year long. But the short answer, again, if you're familiar with yin and yang, it's easier to answer. That's a yang situation, overly yang. So you want to limit anything that's yang, fish, baked foods, salty foods, dry foods, and you want to emphasize mildly sweet and light refreshing foods. So go overboard on the sweet vegetables, puree sweet vegetable soup, sweet potatoes, all the light refreshing dishes, and good quality sweets, including fruits. So to do those things, and also to just have a lot of good light physical activity. That combination should help it.
I would definitely try to do the body rub at night too then. And try having sweet kuzu like a couple times a week. Maybe have it a couple days in a row for a bit, kuzu with rice syrup. That can be really helpful for to relax the pancreas. And the sweet vegetable drink too. So yeah, if you're eating at night, you're gonna have to take some other steps too.
Okay, the next question, do you recommend, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but MUT, M-U-T, with apple juice?
Well, that's, okay, so that was an old-fashioned, a really old-fashioned macrobiotic, I can't call it a remedy, I guess considered to be a refreshing drink, going back to the Georgia Sour days. So I can't remember the last time I had muti. It's a long, long time. And muti with apple juice probably goes back to the 70s. So the answer is I wouldn't. Georgia Sauer introduced muti to macrobiotics basically to try to make people young more quickly. And then it was used kind of as a remedy for a while. And then to make it so it wasn't so young, then people used to have apple juice. And I never thought it was a very good thing. So I wouldn't recommend it. It's a relic from the past. Let it stay there.
Okay, I confess I've tried muti once in my life. I did not find it delicious, and I can't even imagine that would even like go well with apple juice. But I'm not a fan.
All right.
It's just not.
I'll just answer this question directly as it was the last question. I don't want it to be overlooked. So oliveoillovers.com is the website that Denny and Susan use for their oils. And I also text it directly in here in case you want to copy and paste it or click it directly from the chat.